on December 22nd, 2022. In the midst of the pandemic, we had so many ROM hacks and fan games getting released, and all were amazing. But one game that shook the entire community with its deep storytelling and elements was so refreshing when it was released. Pokemon Odyssey. Pokemon Odyssey is a type of a game that you will experience like once in a lifetime because the storytelling of that and also the characters that you encounter in your whole journey of the game is amazing. But we didn't here to talk about Pokemon Odyssey 1 that got released like 4 years ago, which we know it got acknowledged as one of the best ROM hacks of all time. But we are going to talk about its descendant, which is Pokemon Odyssey 2. I'm here to review Pokemon Odyssey 2 and let's see if it's actually really good, because recently the demo of Pokemon Odyssey 2 Live Heroes of Lemuria just released, and I actually posted some gameplay, and I thought of maybe making a review video of it will be a really good choice. Alright guys, I'm Ortex and this is review time for Pokemon Odyssey 2. At the beginning, I said this is the sequel to Odyssey 1, but for those who played Odyssey 1 before, you could feel the same essence of Odyssey in the signature doubles battles, returning characters, and many of the Pokemons of the previous installment that are also present can be used as well. So, which means that you need to play the first installment of this game in order to play Pokemon Odyssey 2 in order to understand the plot. Is the question that you're asking, but the answer is no. You don't need to play the game at all. You don't need to play Odyssey 1 in order to understand Odyssey 2. Odyssey 2 starts with the character selection of multiple avatars like in most RPG games that kicks off with a brand new story to follow. And there are like mainly new characters that you will follow lead to some old characters, but still the game doesn't give you like an indication, kind of like a thing that you should know that these characters are going to come and that you need to understand, but it's not that. So in simple terms, you don't need to play Odyssey 1 in order to play Odyssey 2. It's actually really good. And the other reason for it is actually the game doesn't give you like a huge break because the game is humongous even for a freaking demo. Once you go through the story, you will get the ability to look into the map, and it seems the world looks kinda small in some people's eyes. I was one of them. And immediately after Act 2 within the story, you will get the choice of soaring around the region, which really exceeded my expectations because the map is so freaking huge. And I think there was a segment you need to go to a certain spot to progress the story, but given how insanely the map is, I was struggling to go to the spot that I had to land. I was just roaming around the sky for like at least like 2 minutes because I didn't even know where to go. But that is also the major negative point of the story mechanic in Pokemon Odyssey 2, which I will talk about it in the negatives topic. But let's talk about the positive aspects first. Alright, before we go to the story and the characters that I'm going to talk about, which is a huge positive for this game, I'm not going to talk about the story. This is going to be a non-spoiler review because there are some moments in this game that actually needs a shock value, that actually has a really good shock value factor, and I don't want to spoil it with you by just revealing the story and the whole character arcs. Yeah, I think I'm just going to put this as a non-spoiler review. So I will say the story is pretty basic. I really felt that going with that story was really flat, and at the beginning it was going very flat. But once during the final part of the Act 1, I think the final act of Act 1 was pretty amazing. I think there are like 3 acts in this demo, I think. I was so interested in that particular part of the story when an unexpected orange orb with beautiful eyes passes by, which is a major thing because that thing also appears in Odyssey 1, which is called an FOE, which is an highly dangerous Pokemon that attacks any people with its fearsome power and an unstable anger which can highly bruise you or most likely death. Well, that is the thing that I have written in my script, but in simple terms, imagine an alpha Pokemon getting a stat boost when you engage in a battle, but instead of just one stat getting boost, it gets Omni boosted. Yep, That's what you pump into when you soar out on the skies, always. We will follow through this FOE's track, which leads to an amazing review of a Nihiligo, which is clearly stealing some fashion choices from a poor Lily, and also character-wise, it is actually stealing from her Yandere mother. I thought that part was insanely good, which might even par with one of my favorite sequences, the other ROM hack that I played, which is Pokemon Source 2, which I do think I have posted the gameplay. If you want to look into it, be sure to check it out maybe after this video. And the story jumps here and there because after Act 1, you basically roam around the region like any RPG game, except for some specific locations. And in short, the story is good. I can say that. The story is good, not great. I thought Odyssey 1 was great, the story, but so far the demo that has been depicted, the release so far, the story was good, but not on par with Odyssey 1. It was good. But if you want to talk about some greatness, why don't we just talk about the characters cast in this game? Oh boy, I really love the characters. Starting off with GTO1. Once you select your avatar, you will spawn in a cave and you will meet your first travel partner, which is GTO1, which is an AI that travels with you like it has an anime girl, niche dialogues when it talks with you, which I thought it was a little bit of a cute charm. Next is Leo. Leo is I have to say he's very cunning, introverted genius who is a doctor wandering around the region to find somebody that he dears so much, which I'm not going to spoil because this is a not spoiler review. And eventually he becomes my traveling partner. And not gonna lie, he kinda reminded me of Brock in certain aspects. Plus, what the F? Who the hell thought of this scene when we first meet Leo? Because the whole scene is we bump into some freaking jerks having ripped off a cotton candy as their hairstyle. What was that? I freaking hated that scenario because they couldn't even speak. They had so many they had so many grammatical errors in their freaking speech dialogues because I think that's their character. But heck, even in the gameplay that I did, the gameplay video that I posted, I was so freaking pissed that I don't want to see these guys again. This is the clip.
Okay, I'm not going to engage with this kind of like a duos ever again. Maybe this is just like one time. Because if these guys come in and again in the story, I will be super pissed, you know.
And yes, they don't come back, which is really good, and I want it to be stayed like that. And next is Becky, a pirate lowly girl who inspires people with her charisma and also starts a whole scenario due to her, annoyingly charming nature, which is later revealed to be she just likes to be what she does because she believes that making other people happy makes her happy as well, which I do love from side characters. They have some motive. This is actually really cool. She also has a very diverse team. When we first battle her, for example, her Pokemon has a pirate style, which I was really amazed by, especially her Fire Water Magby. I really thought the Fire Water Magby was really good. I wish we could pump into a wild Magby like that, but I don't think we would pump into that. Maybe once the full game release, I will really have that Magby. And this is our squad. I mean, later in the story, you will get a choice of naming your guild as well, which is a core part of the story in which I chose guild buddies. Because I chose guild buddies because my mascot Articuno is actually, I nicknamed him Buddy. So I thought maybe giving an homage to my mascot Buddy would be really good because he's my first ever legendary Pokemon that I caught. So, fun fact. And also, like I told you, Pokemon Odyssey 2 also follows the same formula from Odyssey 1, which is the major double battle. And in this game, they still have the amazing abilities the Pokemon partners can share. Let me tell you what they are. So, remember Becky, who is a pirate lowly girl, right? She has an ability where at the start of the battle, she can apply Torment on the opposite side, where they can't use the same move twice in a row, which only lasts for I think 5 turns. And my man Leo, as the Medicro, has one of the best abilities, and it's called Antibodies, where he cloaks your party and his party with a wave of mana energy, preventing status moves from landing on us, which is really cool, and also lasts for 5 turns, which I do think when you can upgrade, I think the 5 turns will increase to 8 turns, I think. Yeah, there is an upgrade mechanic, but the upgrading mechanic is not available in this demo. And you could say, wow, Artix, it seems we have some interesting new characters, and you said there are new old characters also coming in this game as well. It's been a long time that I played Pokemon Odyssey. I think it's like last time that I played was like 2 years ago, I think. So the only character that I could remember was Kit. Once you go through the second act at the mid half of the story, we have a small guy called Mr. S, whose species is called a brownie, who steals Becky's money once we land at our destination. While on the way, we also reach the main part of the city, who will bump into Kit, the returning character from Odyssey 1, and once you see her and help her retrieve the stolen stuff from the same guy who stole the money, she helps you on the journey by traveling through her airship. Also, we recruit the thief because we feel bad for him because, and he becomes our sales guy eventually. And then once we enter the cruise ship, we see all of the crew members praising the chef, who speaks short words and very, very long words, which he also falls in his culinary skills too, serving huge food, maintaining less hunger to crewmates. Next is Kozuki, the helmsman of the airship, who's very, very charismatic and looks like a freaking Earthling. Well, that's not my words, because Becky also said in the gameplay, between the gameplay, like he sees Kozuki as a freaking Earthling because he looks like a freaking grizzly bear. And lastly is Aglaya, who was very, very silent at the intro phase when we met her for the first time. But once the endgame comes, she reveals what type of a character she is and reveals her true self. And I want to see more of what type of a character she is, which I do think we will see in the full game. And those are some of the characters that I feel I got attached so much. There are so many side quests and also some quests that you bump into in this demo, where you bump into like side characters. Even some of those characters feel so, amazingly done well, and I really, really think that some players will see the side characters also fall in love with them very, very easy. So yeah, I think the characters has been really, really good in this game so far. And let's talk about the next session, which is here we are. My favorite positive thing of this demo is the Pokémons. Remember the character selection that I talked before for your OC? You will get yourself 2 mons for each character you represent, and I chose Ninja class, and I got myself a Sneasel, a poison ice type, and a healer type, which is a fire type, which might evolve into a fire dragon healer disc, but I can't tell, but I think it learns some dragon moves as well. So another amazing part is the demo offers you that you can have your starters choose to be shiny or not. And I deliberately chose shiny, which again, a small addition can improve your bond with your Pokemon while you pay. And next is the text. Oh boy, this game has over 300 regional Pokemon in this game. And I still caught only and evolved around 32 mons. Mostly because of the level cap before this demo is around like level 25, and you can't evolve Pokemon past that. And I would really, really love to know how it looks like when it evolves. For example, this Chimchar that I caught and evolved into Monferno, I want to see how it looks like when it looks into like an Infernape. It looks so cool. But same with the other Pokemons like the Minfu, the Tyrant, the Anorith, and heck, even the starters won't even evolve it because it evolves past level 25. I am sure there might be like an art of sprites available for Pokemon Odyssey. Maybe in the subreddit they have like like a Pokemon art styles of the sprites of the evolved Pokemons. Maybe you could see that, but I want to play that in the game and see how it looks like because I really would love to see that. But then again, this is a demo, so you can't expect everything, but I gotta say, Pokemon in this game are so freaking amazing, and there will be boss Pokemon battles in between on the main quest and the side quest as well, which I thought it was amazing as well. Okay, so those are all the positive talks that I want to talk about Pokemon Odyssey 2, Here's Lemuria. But before we go to the negatives, this video and also this video, because these are the two videos that I posted recently talking about different ROM hacks that I talked about and reviewed gameplayed it, which I thought these two videos went really, really well, especially the Omniversal video that I did for Pokemon X Ben 10 ROM hack. Be sure to check these two videos out, and you will be really, really amazed of how different each of these games are. Very, very different. Yeah. And also please sure to hit the like button. Also please sure to smash the subscribe button, because our goal is hitting 500 subscribers within this year. We are on the edge, 445 subscribers, and most of the guys who's watching my video are not subscribed. So I recommend you to hit the subscribe button and hit me 500 subscribers, because your boy needs some Uma. I thought there's nothing to talk about like negatives of this game, especially one part that I'm really not fond of, which is the soaring gimmick. Soaring in this game is pretty basic. You only hop into your airship and move around the map, find some chests, some NPCs you could interact, little FOE you could engage in battle, mid-air battles, like wild battles, etc. And that's it. The other thing, the soaring mechanic is actually very useful, is just land onto a specific spot around the region, and once you go to that place, you can just fast travel whenever you can. You won't use the airship ever again. So that is the major thing that I was really questioning about. This is the same issue that happened to the mainline Pokemon games as well. Let me explain. When soaring got introduced in Auras, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, the game was fresh at some points, but once you finish the main story and going to some islands on the post game to catch some legendary Pokemons, then you never use the mechanic again. And that's why the Game Freak actually removed that mechanic of soaring around the sky and gone back to the flying mechanic through Gen 7 by using Charizard Ride, and Gen 8 with Coordinate Taxi, and Gen 9 with fast travel with the Pokédex. Well, yeah, soaring does exist in Gen 9 once you complete the DLC, and maybe in the post game you could just soar around the sky if you just fall from the high mountains. But you could see different Pokemon spawning all over the area while just soaring around the sky, and you could bump into like shiny Pokemon. That's why the soaring in that game is not deliberately good, but it's made engageable. But it's not like that right here. So that is one of the worst things that I could experience from soaring in Pokemon Odyssey 2 demo. I have to say this: cool mechanic, but poor innovation. Because I felt like it was like, again, playing Pokemon Source, because Pokemon Source also had the same soaring mechanic, except here I'm just traveling around the whole world with a freaking pirate ship all over the sky. So here's my ideas how to make it improve for the soaring mechanic in Pokemon Odyssey 2 when the full game releases. And if the developer actually sees this video, maybe he will take this notes that I'm going to tell you. Alright, my number one request is, you can have overworld sprites or mons all over the area. The excitement of seeing that mons roaming around is actually pretty immense, and many people will just shiny hunt like that, because shiny hunting like the roaming Pokemons, it will be really good. And another thing you could add is surprise air trainer battles. You know, in Pokemon Gen 6, right, there are sky battle trainers. Imagine that sky battle trainers hiding inside the clouds, and when you roam around the sky, they just attack you out of nowhere from, just appearing out of nowhere in the sky. And I think those are some of the improvements that I will give you some ideas for making the soaring mechanic in this game even more fleshed out, more exciting, doesn't not making more sidetracking. So yeah. Alright, so with all the thoughts of Pokemon Odyssey 2 that I have just been told, from the positives to the negatives and my thoughts, I'm gonna give you my score, because lastly that I think I have given the score, I think I didn't give the Pokemon Fire Sky a score, and I think I'm gonna give the score of 7 out of 10 for that. And I gave Omniverse and Emerald 5 out of 10, be sure to check it out as well. And for Pokemon Source 2, I actually gave it 7 out of 10, which I do post it in my community post and my X as well. And finally, a drum roll please, for Odyssey 2, give the mark 9 out of 10. Simply because the soaring mechanic felt stale for me. Other than that, this game was perfect from the beginning till the end. And I want you to guys play the game, because you don't want to miss an amazing game with near masterpiece in making. So that is my whole topic about Pokemon Odyssey 2 Heroes of Lemuria review and my rating. So hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit the like button, be sure to subscribe, and I see you very soon in the next gaming review of Pokemon Romance or fan games in the future. See ya!